So we come to our children's focus now, and I was quite surprised when I came into church to find a friend had arrived and is sitting right here at the front. Has anybody got any idea of the name of my friend here? Yes. Paddington. Have you ever met Paddington before? Would you like to come and meet him now? You're very welcome. Anybody else who would like to come and meet Paddington, you're very welcome to come and meet him. Doesn't matter how old or young you are. Do come up. Now, does Paddington look a little bit different from how you imagined him to look? What's different about him? What do you think he should look like? He should have a blue duffel coat on, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
And
Also a bit smaller.
And I think he should be a bit smaller. I was quite flattered that this is my duffel coat, actually. He borrowed it. And it doesn't fit him. It's too small. It made me feel really good about myself. But, yes, I'm sorry he's not wearing a blue duffel coat. Now, what does Paddington wear a hat for? Do you think it keeps him warm when it's cold? Yeah, and what's special about Paddington's hat?
His uncle gave it.
It was his uncle's, wasn't it? And it's a very special thing inside his hat, usually, isn't there? Shall we have a look? Would you like to come and have a look and see what might be inside his hat? Come on then. See if you can reach. It's a bit tall. Can you reach? Oh, what is it? Do you want to get it out? That's it. You can leave his hat there. What is it, boys? Bread. Is it just bread? Have a little look inside. Can you check it? Check out the bread. Marmalade. Yes. Would you like to keep that for later? I promise you, it's got a little bit of butter and it's got very smart marmalade on it. You can keep that for later. So on the table we've got something as well, haven't we? Naraya, what's this on the table here?
Marmalade.
Does Paddington like marmalade? He does, doesn't he? Who else here likes marmalade? Quite a number of us. Thank you. Now, there's something special about Paddington. He wasn't born in the UK, was he? Where was he born? In Peru, in South America, and he had to come here by ship, didn't he? What is it he's got around his neck? Can you see here?
Yeah,
It's a label. What does it say?
please look after this bear.
Please look after this bear. Signed Aunt Lucy in Naraya's perfect handwriting. Did Paddington come to England thinking people would look after him? He did sort of, didn't he, to begin with. He came because there was an explorer, wasn't there? An explorer had a very complicated name, something like Montgomery Clyde, wasn't it? At least that's what the name he was given in the films. And he had given a promise to Paddington. What was the promise? Do you remember? It's a bit of a test. Do you remember, Naraya? No, the promise was, it comes up later in the film, the promise was that if ever he came to England, he would find a home with the explorer, wouldn't he? Find a home. And so in the film, we see Paddington trying to find the explorer, don't we? Now, there are one or two things that Paddington says. This is Paddington's nice suitcase. It's only got a scarf in it, so we don't need to look inside it. But one or two things that Paddington said that I think are quite interesting. He used to have his 11s. Why don't you pretend, Naraya, that you're Mr. Gruber? You sit here. He used to go and see his friend Mr. Gruber, didn't he, in the sort of antique shop. And what would they have? They'd have marmalade sandwiches, of course. The answer's always marmalade sandwiches. And Mr. Gruber didn't come from the UK either. He came from another country. And he said to Paddington that home is more than just a roof over my head. So I wonder what he meant. What do you think a home is? It's not just the roof and the walls of a house. What do you think makes a home? Shall we have some ideas? What's the top thing for you, Naraya? What makes a good home? A family. So people living in it together, with or without arguments? Without arguments. What else helps to make a home?
Food.
Food. Having something to eat. something like marmalade, for example, having food, because then you will feel quite happy because your body is thriving, isn't it? What else helps to make it feel like home? What do you like about your house? Doing things together, having fun, yes? And maybe sometimes doing the washing up together. Does that help home feel like a home? Yes. We had a rota when I was your age. We had a rota in my house, and I tried to put my name on it as few times as possible, but we had a rota for the children doing the washing up. So yes, doing things together, being together, that's what makes a home. And that's what Paddington was looking for, wasn't he? He was looking for a home. So, if we were to write an advert for Paddington Bear looking for a home, we'd put the things on it that you've said, wouldn't we? We would have it as with a family. Would you need to specify how many children? Would it matter? 10, 2, 1, a family. Then it would have to be a place where you had lots of nice food, or enough food. Should we say enough food for everybody? And especially marmalade sandwiches, take note. And then somewhere where we could do things, play games and do them washing up. Okay? Is there anything else anybody would like to add to our list of what makes us feel at home? Penny? Furniture helps, doesn't it? Having somewhere to sit and be comfortable. Is there anything else we might add to what makes a good home? Yes? Eating. So actually eating together. Oh, heating. Heating. Yeah, it's warmth. Heating as well, for it to be warm. Right at the back, I can't see who that is. Where you belong. Thank you, Brian. You feel you belong. Now, that's a very good point. It's in my pocket. I never get to my pockets easily in these robes. I've got something here. Now, that helps me to know where I belong, doesn't it? It's got the key to my house on it. It doesn't mean it's necessarily a very nice home, but it's where I belong. We need to feel we belong somewhere. That's what Paddington wanted. So when Paddington arrived, he didn't have a duffel coat, did he? He had a label and a hat and his bag and some marmalade sandwiches. And he gave his marmalade sandwich to some pigeons, didn't he? He was very kind. But Mrs. Brown eventually said to Paddington, you need to keep warmer than you are. And she gave him that nice blue duffel coat, didn't she? And she said to him when she put it on, do you know what she said to him? She said, you look like one of the family now. So that was number one, wasn't it? He was going to be part of the family. And then after all the adventures that Paddington had, and Mr. Brown eventually said yes, because Mr. Brown wasn't very keen, was he, on having Paddington live with them forever. But he eventually said to Paddington, yes, you can be at home. Then Paddington said something like this. He said, there are so many different people in London, so many different people. And I know that I don't look like any of them, because he was a bear. But he said, I really feel at home now. He learnt to feel at home. And other people learnt to love him, didn't they? Do you know that Jesus said something like that? Jesus said to all of us, I'm going to prepare a home for you. That was Jesus' promise when he left earth, to make a home for us. Now, I think there will be other people there. I think it'll be warm enough. I think there'll be enough food, and I think there'll be lots of fun things to do. And do you know what? I don't think there'll be any washing up.
Well, of course there's going to be food, because we've got food.
Yes, you've got food. That's right. You've got food already. And Jesus says, I'm going to prepare a home for you. That could mean he's building it, he's just getting it ready for you. But he also says, I'm going to come back and I'm going to take you to the place where I have prepared for you. I'm going to be the one who takes you there. And that's a really lovely explanation of what happens when any of us die. Because when we die, we leave this home on earth, and Jesus takes us to a new home in heaven where there's no washing up. I'm just going to say a little prayer for us now as we thank God for that hope. Paddington found hope, didn't he, in that story, living with the Brown family and having his 11s with Mr. Gruber. Not sure about Mr. Curry too much. But Jesus promises us the perfect home ever. So I'm just going to say a little prayer. Lord Jesus, thank you that you have promised to give us a home. I pray now that you would help us to trust you and follow you to find that home that you have prepared for us. It gives us great hope. Thank you for the hope that you put in our hearts. Amen.